I'm Heyzeus, and this video is on something weird that I stumbled upon that I think plays a big and really unseen role in the skins economy, and I think it's a big part of the reason why skins prices haven't completely collapsed as the game has aged. First of all though, I'm giving away a flip knife black laminate. Follow the link in the description below to enter. Anyway, so there's a lot of new skins created every day, a lot of them, through drops and through cases being opened, and this is a problem because there's no real way for skins to leave the market permanently. You can trade some of them up, but at a certain point, even that isn't possible. And if there's a constant stream of skins being injected into the market, unless the player base is constantly growing, at a certain point, prices are going to collapse. Supply will overwhelm demand. Now, CSGO hasn't seen steady growth for quite a few years now, and lately it's definitely been in decline. But we haven't seen a decline in skins prices either. For the most part, they've remained quite stable, and this doesn't really make sense. It doesn't add up. Now, obviously, some skins are lost due to people being trade banned and due to bots being banned, but it's hard to imagine that that could be enough on its own to stop the market from being completely flooded with skins. And if it was, we'd probably see weird price spikes when big ban waves come through on gambling bots. And this doesn't really show up anywhere on the record, but I think there's another factor that might explain why the market has remained relatively stable over the years. To explain what's going on, I'll start off by showing a couple of skins that are behaving in ways on the market that don't make sense, and then I'll go on to a slightly awkward personal story, which is what actually drew my attention to this area in the first place. So this is the factory new AK Vulcan, a very well-known skin, very popular, nice looking. Its price bottomed out at about $50 a few years ago. Since then it's been going up. It's at about $80 now. We've also got the field-tested AWP Asimov. Once again, another absolute classic skin, really popular. Its price bottomed out at about $25 a few years ago. And since then, its price has been going back up. It's now approaching $40. The reason I'm bringing this up is that I sort of look at this and I find it a bit weird. These are covert skins. There is no way for them to leave the game once they've been created. Well, there are some ways, but we'll get onto that. But, you know, on paper, you can't trade them up. They can only be unboxed and traded up for. Once they're there, they aren't going anywhere. The supply can only go up. And sure, they're from older cases now, so people probably aren't unboxing them quite as much anymore. There's probably less trade-ups being done for them, but nonetheless, the skins aren't going anywhere. So it's a little bit weird to see the price gradually going up over time, particularly since the player base has, at best, stagnated since those skins bottomed out. Now, I also wanted to look at the field-tested AK Redline. As you can see, its price has been more or less stable after the last 3 months. You can see a very noticeable drop in the price when the trade hold was introduced. It quickly recovered, and it's been more or less stable since then. But if we look at the number being traded, you can see the spike there when there was a big panic sell when the trade hold was introduced, but otherwise, the total volume has slowly been slipping. The price hasn't changed at all, it's just the overall level of buying and selling has dropped, which is weird because since the trade hold was introduced, the game's player base has taken quite a hit. This drop would be synonymous with people leaving the game. And you would expect if people were leaving the game, they'd be trying to cash out their inventories. You'd expect a huge flood of items over the past month onto the market as people left, but that hasn't really happened. Now, a little while back, I was looking for some specific inputs to do some very high-end trade-up contracts. I was looking for StatTrack minimal wear P2000 Cortezeiras with a float range in between 0.07 and 0.09. Now, the only quick way I could think of that'd be able to get these skins without waiting months for buy orders to come through at the right float value is to find people with this skin at the right float value, directly contact them and try and get them to trade for a bit of overpay. So I went and directly contacted about 50 people, left a comment on their profile, added them as a friend. Not a single one of them wanted to have anything to do with me. It was a bit embarrassing. And there was no doubt reasons for that. My low Steam level probably didn't help. It's also worth noting that generally when people do leave comments on your profile asking to trade, it's generally, a phishing scam or something like that. I mean, Take this guy for instance, with a profile picture like that, you would have thought he'd welcome me with open arms as a long lost brother, but instead he just ignored me, and the reason for that may make a bit more sense once you scroll down a bit and see all these bloody scammers spamming his profile. Nonetheless, over the course of doing this, I noticed something a little bit weird. I came across all these different Steam accounts that had not super nice inventories, but reasonably nice inventories. There's a few $100s worth of stuff there that seemed basically abandoned. It was like the person that owned them hadn't really been back for months and months and months, or sometimes years, and had just left this account with some fairly nice and valuable stuff in it to rot, effectively. Take this guy's inventory for instance. Now, it's not a god tier inventory, but it's a nice enough inventory. He's got a $200 knife, there's a good range of skins covering all the main guns in the game. He's got that bloody Quarter that I want to trade for, but of course the bastard won't return my calls. But if we look at his profile, he hasn't been online for about 120 days, for about 4 months. Now, obviously, he could just have been in offline mode the whole time. I sometimes play Counter-Strike in offline mode, but we can see when the most recent item was added to his Counter-Strike inventory. The last thing he added to his inventory was his Scout skin, and it was added about 4 months ago, which balances out perfectly with what his Steam account shows. Apparently, this guy's just walked away from an account with $350 worth of skins and not bothered to sell any. Not that it stopped a very optimistic scammer from having a go at this guy during the course of me recording this video. This guy is another example. So he clearly has played a lot at some point in the past. You look at his inventory, it's chock-a-block full of all sorts of crappy drops that you get from just playing the game on a weekly basis. But he's also got a $300 Karambit, he's got a bunch of other coverts, including a Fire Serpent, he's got quite a few classified skins, including that Quarter that I was after. So he's got a decked out inventory. He's got nearly $1,000 worth of skins. Okay, maybe decked out's an exaggeration, but it is still a nice inventory. But if we hop over to his Steam account, the guy hasn't been online in about a year. It looks like he's just walked away and left nearly $1,000 of skins untouched in his account. And we can tell that he hasn't been playing Counter-Strike for quite a long time just by looking at some of the stuff in his inventory. For instance, the most recent case drop he got was a Chroma 3 case. Now, Chroma 3 cases haven't been dropping for roughly 8 months at this point. I think slightly longer actually. So clearly, last time he was playing was more than 8 months ago. And also, if you look at the most recent skin drop he got, the Negev Army Sheen, we can see that that's from all the way back at the start of 2017. So that's nearly a year and a half ago at this point. So this guy hasn't been online for ages, doesn't seem to have been on Steam at all for ages, but he's got such a nice inventory just left abandoned in his account. And he's not the only person leaving behind a Fire Serpent and a really expensive knife. Take this guy for instance. Now, his inventory is also loaded with cases and 1 cent items, so he clearly played a lot at some point, but he's also got a $600 factory new StatTrak M9 Bayonet Marble Fade, and a Fire Serpent, and a Quarter as well. That's how I came across him. But if we go to his Steam profile, he hasn't been on in almost 2 months. That 2 months though, I think that's misleading. I don't think he's been playing Counter-Strike for much longer than that. So if we look at the cases in his inventory, the most recent 2 cases to be released that we can see there are the Spectrum case and the Glove case. Now, they are still in active rotation, but the Glove case was released back in 2016, the Spectrum case was released early 2017, so it doesn't mean he's been playing recently. And if we go to the most recent skin drop he's got, it's from around about this time last year. Now, obviously there's 11 more drops after that, so that indicates he was probably playing CS for a couple of more months between now and then, but nonetheless, this looks like an inactive account, and it's got $1,000 worth of stuff on it. I mean, who walks off and leaves $1,000 behind like that? It's not hard to cash this stuff out. It's not like RuneScape or something. Like, sure, if you had a party hat on RuneScape, yeah, understandably, it would have been a pain to cash it out, but CSGO's not like that. There's safe ways of cashing this stuff out in almost no time at all. I don't understand why these people are getting up and leaving all this money behind. And I do have to emphasize here, I came across lots of people like that. Like, almost a third of the skins I wanted were in abandoned accounts. So I don't think this is a case of all these people getting, shadow banned or something like that, getting some sort of trade ban that I can't see. I think these are people who've just walked off and left their accounts behind with all this stuff on them. But anyway, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I think it helps to explain all of that stuff I was looking at the start of the video. Why are the AK Vulcan and the AWP Asimov going up in price? Because when people who own these skins quit the game, often they just leave them in their inventories rather than selling them, therefore decreasing the total number of skins in circulation. Why is the AK-47 Redline dropping in volume rather than price? Probably because the people who are leaving the game can't be bothered to sell them. And sure, there's less people who want to buy them, but there's also less skins in circulation now. So the market ends up stabilizing at the same price, but with less trading going on. Now, don't get me wrong either. People getting trade banned and bots getting banned also plays a role here. Take this guy, for example. He's an active player to this very day. He's still getting drops. He even got a rare drop recently, a CSGO weapon case, and his inventory is full of some really old investments. We've got Cologne 2014 stickers, winter offensive cases, he's got a knife, he's got some nice gun skins, but the poor bastard is trade banned, so I won't be getting that quarter zero off him anytime soon. And obviously, there's these banned trading bots. Valve has done a lot of that over the years. I came across a few really old CSGO and Dota 2 lounge bots while I was looking for quarter zeros. These ones don't have much on them, but that's because there was several weeks warning before they were banned. But these are obviously the exception, not the rule when it comes to bots being banned. And I'll be doing some investigating, but I suspect there's probably tens of millions of dollars worth of items banned in gambling bots. Either way though, this is a fundamental point I wanted to get to. On paper, CSGO appears to have a very closed economy. Once an item is created, in theory, it can only leave circulation by being traded up, and this obviously only works for items at certain tiers. In practice though, I think it's actually a very different story. I think a lot of stuff gets lost through people either abandoning accounts or through bots getting banned, which I think helps to explain why prices in the game have remained relatively stable despite years and years of people getting drops and people opening cases. Prices haven't collapsed under a huge surplus of skins, but they've actually remained fairly intact. Now, I will be doing some further investigation into this area to see if there are any more details I can dig up. I particularly like to try and get some estimates about just how much stuff has been banned in gambling bots, but I think this is actually a really important aspect of the skins economy that doesn't get much attention, and I will be doing some further research on it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I know I said I'd draw the giveaway for levels.gg at the end of this video, and I have actually drawn it, but the credits haven't been transferred to the winner's account yet, so I'll announce that next vid. In the meantime though, it's a great site you can go to level up your Steam account quick and easy. Make sure you use the code Heyzeus when you do it though, to get a 33% bonus on the number of sets you get. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your gut. I'm Heyzeus. Thanks for watching. See ya.